and welcome to the Lighten Up podcast with Lauren Polly, your invitation for living on the lighter side of life. I'm Lauren Polly, and I am delighted you have chosen to join me today for episode 203, From Crazy to Crazy Brilliant. This is kind of my hallmark message in my business, my workshops, my sessions, my book. Everything has been really based around this really pivotal way to look at your life, your living, and yourself that has transformed my life time and time again. It's something I've talked a lot about on this show, actually, but never really in this very direct way. So I wanted to dig into it a little bit today. I know so many of you out there may have been for quite a while now on this self-help journey where you're really looking at exploring and also kind of pushing your growing edges, releasing that inner enemy, I like to call it, or that judgment that just so insidious and just is a constant companion, unfortunately, on our life path. This is a really important, very simple way to actually start looking at your life and the things that you're not super happy with, and actually bring about a great sense of not only peace and possibility, but actualizing a different reality with it. Your point of view creates your reality. So when you are harped on the judgeable offenses in your life, the liabilities that are always getting you into trouble, or those wrongnesses, those things that you don't like about yourself, guess what you end up creating? More of the same. You also expend a lot of energy and have so much tension in your body, in your mind, in your life even, to try to hide those imperfections, so to speak, those things that you don't actually accept and allow and embrace as a wholeness of you. So there's different ways that we do this. There's different ways that sometimes that inner voice is really negative and we get harped on the things that we don't like about ourselves and our lives. And before you know it, that's kind of like the constant companion. And then sometimes our life kind of looks like that, where we create upset after upset because of those characteristics. And then others of us go the opposite extreme. I've done this big time, where we go into the perfection and the control. If I have everything under control and if I'm absolutely perfect from the outside, ain't nobody gonna know all of this icky stuff deep down. And that's just really a hard way to live. Whether your wrongnesses, your judgeable offenses, those things you don't like about yourself, whatever terminology you want to use, whatever those things have led you to in your life, either unhealthy relationship patterns, unhealthy self-relationship and self-talk. Perhaps they've won you a mental health diagnosis like I did. If you've read my multi-award winning book, The Other Side of Bipolar, that was exactly what I went through. These characteristics that I had that were so wrong and so judgeable in other people's eyes and so uncomfortable to myself in my own eyes because I didn't know what I was dealing with. I wasn't able to take these characteristics and look at them from a place of strength. And more importantly, from a place of utilization, actually being able to apply it to my life to create a life that was authentic to me and that was peace and possibility filled. So wherever you currently are on the journey, if you've been digging into this for a while, again, you've been kind of identifying these like spots in your life where you're like, oh gosh, I really wish that wasn't so, or this thing isn't really working for me. Whether you're kind of in the muck of it right now and are really dealing with some heavy quote unquote limitations, keeping you from your most satisfying, delicious life, or whether you've been going about this for quite a while and you've been going, you know what? If I looked at this from a different perspective, not from wrong, but from strong, I wonder what I would be aware of. I wonder what I could choose. If you've been on that journey for a little bit of kind of not really seeing yourself through the negative judgment and also not buying into the positive judgment of things having to be a certain way, that perfection thing we talked about, but actually kind of through open curiosity of like, I wonder what is here. I just invite you to dive deeper with this conversation. This whole thing, really turning your wrongness to a strongness, was first introduced to me through Access Consciousness, which is an amazing energetic system, also super practical in how you can apply it to your life. And it is one that has set me free time and time and time again. And it's not just in terms of the judgeable offenses that you may have with your personality traits or your behavior patterns, but even the things that you're judging about your body or your financial situation or those relationship patterns that keep coming up over and over again, even when you change relationship partners. The same kind of control mechanisms come up, the same kind of limitation patterns. You kind of get the same thing. All of those are really born from the baser points of view that you have about yourself and how you interact with the world around you. And a lot of that comes from having raw material, raw capacities, raw gifts that you have. And when they're outside of the box, or they're more nuanced and subtle, it's very easy to get them mislabeled or twisted or not being able to really know how to use them. So they go a bit stagnant, like they get put on the back shelf. So this work is really about unwinding all of that and taking a different vantage point instead of actually defining everything about you thus far. Your personality traits, your behavior patterns, what you're good at, what you suck at, the problems you're always going to have here on out forever and ever. Amen. You actually got more curious about the raw material you had to work with, those qualities that you have, and being able to re-embrace the curiosity factor in that. Coming out of definition, coming out of the this is the way it was, this is the way it will be, will give you the room to start using applied curiosity, putting on your little investigator hat and actually going, I wonder if that actually wasn't a wrong thing about me. It wasn't a liability. But if I could flip it and look at it from a different perspective, what asset is here? If I was coming at this from a place of strength and a unique perspective, what would I be aware of? And really and truly, it is that open exploration that really starts to change your life. It will guide you in a different direction. One out of the inner enemy in your head that constantly beats yourself up. And it also leads you out of constant behavior patterns where no matter what you change, you kind of can't shake some things for some reason. It's because they're deeper and it's because they're based on points of view about your limitations and your liabilities. Using this perspective, undefining it as so, as a liability, using applied curiosity and kind of flipping it and flipping it and flipping it again is what will really allow you to walk down this life creation path in an amazingly fun way. And I know it sounds like a tall order sometimes from wrongness to strongness if you're looking at always being like the shy one who never has social ease, always socially awkward and never can connect, to the rightness about that or the strength. And you're like, I don't really get how that could be a strength. Well, if you break it down, just to use that as an example, you start to look at, well, where did it first get labeled as such? How old were you when that occurred? And what was truly going on in that situation? Was it truly that you were shy and a wallflower, or were you somebody who loved to let other people shine and enjoyed contributing to that? Were you someone who liked to kind of suss out the situation first, kind of get your bearings, take in all the information coming your way, and then take action? There are a lot of ways that certain characteristics and wrong characteristics, quote unquote, have been labeled and given to you as a personality trait or a role in your life that actually aren't so. And because they were labeled at that at such a tender age, and sometimes in such a tender experience, it gets really hard to actually see what's right about that. You know, for me, going through what I did with my bipolar label, I always had big feelings, I guess you would call. Always big feelings. And unfortunately, big feelings were followed by big reactions a lot of the time. So there was an outward expression of these inner emotions. And for so long, it was such a wrongness because the big reactions threw people off and the big feelings weren't really controllable or comfortable at all. And again, it's hard to go from 0 to 180 and flip it, but through the work that I've done, really harnessing the wow, those big feelings actually weren't my big feelings. A lot of the times they were just my awareness of other people and the waves of emotions moving through the environment. And that reactive was just me getting triggered. It's somebody on the outside pushing a button. And I wonder, beyond just kind of the clarity of, okay, that's what was really going on, age 13, age 14, that label came. It was my awareness of others, and it was my emoting and reaction, my buttons getting pushed with it. Really looking at, well, what is right about that? Well, I'm highly sensitive and highly aware. And when I can reclaim that as a strength and come at it from a place of strength and again, utilization, all of a sudden I have a wide open bandwidth on how to apply it in my life. It's something I use in my life coaching business with my clients. It's something I use with my hospital patients to connect deeply with them. It's something I use all the time in my relationships to really form deep and honest bonds. It's fascinating when you actually start taking that labeled limitation, liability, and quite frankly, sometimes like the judgeable thing about you, the thing that no one is ever able to see. They can't see it because you'd be unsafe or harmed or stigmatized, whatever it is. But if you actually start letting yourself take these little baby steps as they feel comfortable and accessible to you can start unwinding it a bit more. There's more possibilities when you stop defining yourself based on the past, number one. You start getting curious and go, I wonder what actually was there. When did that first come up? What twisted it? Sometimes there's an answer, sometimes there's not with that. But just kind of get clear on what was the kind of weird, crunchy thing that was going on. Where were you labeled? Where were you given a role? Where were you put in a box? And then start actually utilizing that applied curiosity, those questions of, I wonder what was right about me? What's right about me that I'm not getting? And I wonder how I can apply that to my life moving forward. And it might be something very unique to you. It's amazing to me the more I go down with this. This is really how I worked with my mental health label to get freedom from that and to really release all the stigma that I had in my life time after time after time again. Kind of the pink elephant that clouded every relationship, including my self-relationship and my relationship to the world. Hard stuff. It was a long path, but this thing in particular, this was a key nugget that actually let me unwind from the quote-unquote crazy, from the quote-unquote limitation. And crazy is a big word. I personally have had a lot of charge on it over the years because of the mental health thing. But a lot of times the craziness is really like you can't pay attention. You never finish everything. You're too far out of the box. You're never satisfied with the status quo. Oh, you're happy when no one else is happy. What's wrong with you? There's all these little things that sometimes are quote unquote crazy to other people because they don't fit in this reality. They don't match what is expected. And it's very easy to get shut down by other people when that's where you function from. This is an invitation to take the judgment away and to actually reclaim for yourself, embrace again what is different about you, and look at how you can use that as building blocks to your life. If you've read my book, if you have attended a workshop or work with me one-on-one, you'll know that this is kind of the key message in my business. This is what I do a lot of my speaking engagements on. And it's always fascinating because even the people who haven't been diagnosed or given an outright label, they've always kind of had that sense of having a bit of a box around them. And it's what I see people time and time again butting up against when they're trying to make a change in their life. This, flipping wrongness to strongness, going from the quote-unquote crazy to the brilliance you can actually be in your own life creation, is a massively amazing journey. Tender at times, absolutely, but there's a lot here that's possible. And the sense of peace that actually comes with it, if you're willing to actually take these steps, is immense, I have an amazing online workshop on this coming up on the 28th of of May 2020. It's $30 to jump on for an hour and a half. We're going to do 5 tools to break free from crazy to crazy brilliant. We're going to dive in a little bit more, kind of a bit more of a step-by-step and where you can take this process for you. So if that's something that is calling for you, I'm going to put the link down below in the show. Hop on, join us in community and exploration. And in the meantime, kind of a fun thing, I'm going to be doing 12 short little videos leading up to that on my Instagram and Facebook, taking a quote unquote crazy and turning it into a brilliance. I'll be giving you kind of the quote unquote problem, the question to help you pop open and free, and then what might be waiting on the other side for you. So if you haven't connected with me yet on social media, now may be a good time. I'll put those links in the show write up as well. Have an amazing week. Enjoy exploring all of this. Know that you're supported and that you aren't alone in this journey and that there's so much waiting for you on the other side of it. It just really takes your ability to be soft with yourself, to be kind to yourself, and also have open curiosity onto yourself too. Where can you go from here? And truly, truly, what is right about you that you've not been getting up until now? It's time to reclaim it. I will chat with you next Tuesday.